Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back. And we'd like to open the Quincy Public School Committee meeting for Wednesday, September 10th. We are now in session. Or do I do that after? Roll call. Superintendent.
Mr. Begoli? Present. Mrs. Cahill?
Present.
Mr. Gattro? Present. Mrs. Hubley?
Present.
Mrs. Lebo? Present. Mrs. Perdios?
Present.
And Mayor Kobe?
Present.
Stand for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Please remain standing, Superintendent.
Thank you and good evening. We have two memoriams tonight. Please keep in your thoughts and prayers the following employees of the Quincy Public Schools who passed away. Brenda Chin, English learner, education tutor, and teacher for 30 years at the Wallaston Elementary School. And Raymond Joyal, 25 years of service as a teacher at the Nathaniel Hunting and Atherton Howe Elementary Schools and Broad Meadows Middle School. Later assistant principal at Parker Elementary School and then Atlantic Middle School. If you could keep these individuals and their families in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
If you could just remain standing for a moment. We're on the eve of the 24th anniversary of 9/11, that horrific act, terrorist act that took so many lives and really changed the world, certainly changed the lives of this country. We're living in a time where we're in a troubled world. We see the uncertainty in Ukraine and Russia and the Middle East, a bit of a mess. So much violence happening in countries in Africa. And some of the outrageous violent acts in this country the last couple of weeks. And I know the media today brings everything to light immediately, so we're exposed to it so deeply. So I just ask everyone, whatever your faith tradition, take a minute and let us pray. Pray for peace, peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, and peace in our world. Thank you.
At this time, we have open forum, which is an opportunity for community input regarding the Quincy Public Schools. Community in this context is defined as a resident of the city of Quincy, a non-resident parent or of a student who attends the Quincy Public Schools, or a non-resident employee of the Quincy Public Schools. After giving his or her name and address, each speaker may make a presentation of no more than 3 minutes to the school committee. An individual may not exchange their time or yield to others. Residents or non-community persons may submit written statements of up to 300 words to the school committee at qscopenforum@quincypublicschools.com by 4 p.m. of the day prior to the posted school committee regular meeting. Written statements will be posted on the school committee section of the Quincy Public School website by noon on the day of the posted school committee regular meeting. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak at open forum? Is that right?
Yeah.
Hello.
All right. Good afternoon, Mayor. The sun's still out, so. Vice Chair and fellow school committee members, my name is Kai Lee from 42 President's Ave. It's great to have the kids back in the school. My daughter and many of her friends participated in the Summer Quest program at Vernazzani, made possible with your support. She got to see her friends, and one of her top activities is how she liked that they read the book Holes and watched the movie version of it as well. They discussed the difference between the book and the video. She said the book was more descriptive and the movie was, well, more visual. I like this multimedia approach to teaching and learning. One of the highlights of my son's summer was getting to be part of the summer theater program, Summer Theater Arts Academy. He liked that he got to do so much, mostly behind the scenes stuff. He even sent an email out to the coordinator running the program and asked if he could be part of next year's program and to have that sort of role again. Thank you again for the support and funding these programs. It helps keep our kids engaged during the summer. There's definitely demand. I believe there was over 2,000 students that participating, and it'll be great if there's additional funding made available in the future to expand these programs. This might not be a school committee thing, but I also wanted to highlight the Quincy Rec offerings this summer and how much we, it's not just my kids, their friends as well, enjoy the time spent at the parks and the various field trips. These programs between the Quincy Rec and the school ones help make Quincy a great place to raise a family. Another thing I liked was the update Superintendent Mulvey and Dr. Perkins gave on QATV back in August. Quincy Public Schools, in conjunction with the City Maintenance Department, got a lot done at our schools. It's pretty awesome to find the time capsule from 1948. I look forward to seeing what's in there. Maybe a baseball? One other request. Our students receive Chromebooks free of charge and expected to last several years. Perhaps we could find budget or funding somehow to purchase laptop cases, and this will help protect our investment from accidental knocks and falls. You know, kids will be kids. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, we'll take this time now and move on to the superintendent's report. Superintendent?
Thank you and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. It was a very fast 13 weeks since last we were before you. My first item on the agenda is a school committee member recognition. Congratulations to Mr. Paul Begoli for being recognized with a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Massachusetts Association of School Committees Board of Directors in honor of his contributions to the children of the Quincy Public Schools. Mr. Bergoli graduated from North Quincy High School on an undisclosed date. And after college, Mr. Bergoli returned to the Quincy Public Schools as a teacher, then guidance counselor and longtime coach for soccer, softball, and basketball. Mr. Bergoli is now in his 14th year as a school committee member and has served a term as vice chair and is the school committee representative to the city's Parks and Recreation Board. The award will be presented at a dinner on November 14th during the Massachusetts Association of School Committees Conference in Hyannis. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Bergoli for this recognition. I think Mr. Bergoli may want to say a few words.
Thank you very much for your support and for your help during my time on the school committee. You can't do it without the rest of the committee, obviously, SLT and the superintendent. So it's just not a one-person thing, so. Service is what I was dedicated to when I was a kid, and it just carried through my career. I'm honored to have this recognition and humbled by it, and I appreciate it very much. So thank you, and thank you all for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Bergoli. Congratulations. On August 5th, representatives from the Massachusetts School Building Authority visited Parker, Atlantic, Broadmeadows, and Point Webster to review in person the details of the proposed accelerated repair project submitted last March. The next step is the MSBA board meeting on October 29th, when we will learn if the projects have been invited into the design phase. We are very hopeful for these projects. Thanks to Commissioner Paul Hines, Walter McDonald, Dave Scott, Don Martin, Gary Cuniff, Kevin Segala, and all of the custodial staff members who assisted in organizing this MSBA visit. Of course, I'll keep you up to date on what happens at that board meeting for these accelerated repair projects. In late August, we learned that we once again were granted access to the United States of Readers program for Clifford Marshall, Lincoln Hancock, Parker, Snug Harbor Elementary Schools, and Point Webster and Southwest Grade 5. This fully funded school-wide program is designed to partner with teachers in Title I schools across the country with the goal of empowering students to choose, own, and read the books that they love. Every student chooses 2 books 5 times a year, a total of 10 books per student. Every student also receives book plates to personalize their books. And every teacher also receives 25 books throughout the school year to build their own classroom libraries. And of course, we're grateful once again to be selected as one of the Massachusetts communities to receive this program. So thank you all for that. Yesterday, in a ceremony at Point West Middle School, Quincy Public Schools was awarded nearly $65,000 in new musical instruments through the Ernie Bach Jr. Music Drives Us Foundation. The instruments were amazing. Thanks to Dr. Wilson, one of our instrumental teachers, for his work in securing this amazing grant. This generous support will strengthen our middle school band and jazz programs and expand access to music opportunities for our students. We extend our sincere appreciation to the Music Drives Us Foundation and Ernie Bach Jr. for this tremendous gift. So thank you. The City of Quincy will be receiving a Green School Works grant of an amazing $4.5 million from the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center for school building renovation projects that improve energy efficiency, reduce carbon emissions, or mitigate the impacts of climate change. The grant presentation will be next Tuesday, September 16th at 10 a.m. at the Snug Harbor Community School. Thanks to Director of Coastal Resiliency and Sustainability, Margaret LaForest, for coordinating the grant proposal and presentation, of course, to the mayor and his team for all of the information and required work that needed to be done to Snug Harbor in order to qualify us for receiving this $4.5 million grant. So it really is, will be transformative for Snug Harbor. So thank you, everyone involved, for that. Next, I do want to touch base on the Roll Hats Weekend for Quincy High School. That will be September 19th to the 20th. On September 19th, volleyball will be from 11 to 1 p.m. On September 20th, girls and boys soccer. And on September 20th, football will be at 4:30 p.m. So good luck to Quincy High School for their Roll Hats Weekend. Quincy Public Schools and City of Quincy additional events, the fall open house events. The calendar of events was shared with the school committee in their packets and is also posted on the QPS website. These events are a great opportunity for families to meet classroom teachers, learn about curriculum and academic expectations, and how to become more involved in the school community. The Quincy Art Association will be hosting an art show at the Q Arts Gallery on Hancock Street that features artwork from over 350 students, representing all elementary, middle, and high schools in the Quincy Public Schools, as well as artwork by QPS art teachers. This is the third in a 3-year art project celebrating Quincy 400, and a reception will be held on Sunday, September 14th from noon to 3 p.m., and all are invited to attend. The exhibit will open during regular Q Arts Gallery hours through October 12th, so I hope you have a chance to see that. And special thanks to Dan and Jessica Myers for their efforts in advocacy of our students' creativity, and the Quincy Art Association for their support of the young artists of Quincy for many, many years. And again, in celebration of Quincy's 400th anniversary, the City of Quincy is hosting a hot air balloon and laser light show on Saturday, September 20th from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Pageant and Adams Field. So that'll be a very fun event. The Quincy Public Schools Music Department is beginning the annual music instrument demonstration for our elementary schools, featuring woodwind instruments for grades 4 and 5 and stringed instruments for grades 2 through 5. Students interested in joining the elementary school band program are invited to attend the instrument rental night scheduled for Monday, September 22nd at 6 p.m. Students who are interested in playing a stringed instrument in our after-school string lesson program are invited to attend the instrument rental night on Monday, September 29th at 6 p.m. And then lastly, I just want to quickly touch on our summer programming. On the school committee, the next school committee meeting, September 24th, we'll do an in-depth review of our summer program, but I do want to thank the mayor and the school committee for allowing us the funding to support over 2,000 students in many different programs that you'll hear about on September 24th. These programs were for enrichment purposes and remediation purposes and was a great success. I do obviously want to thank the Dr. Perkins and the SLT and all of our teachers. Okay, thank you for your patience, everyone. We just had a power outage for those at home, but we are back on, and I'll continue with the superintendent's report. I was on the summer programming. I, again, want to thank the mayor and the school committee for allowing us the funding to support 2,000 students in remediation and enrichment programs throughout the district. We'll have a greater in-depth review of the summer programming on our next school committee meeting on September 24th. And I also do want to do a shout out to the I Can Bike program. That will be part of the presentation. But the I Can Bike program, supported by the school committee in particular, Mrs. Lebo and Mrs. Hubley, allowed our students, particularly our students with disabilities, the ability for an entire week to learn how to ride a bike. And I have to say, having witnessed the Monday start and the Friday finish, it's incredible the transformative ability of the I Can Bike program to allow every student who started on Monday to learn how to ride a bike on Friday, and it really was amazing. You'll see more next time with pictures and a greater presentation, but I obviously do want to thank the I Can Bike program and, of course, this committee for the support and for allowing our students in the I Can Bike program to be as successful as they were. It really was amazing. So with that, that ends my superintendent's report.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, old business, which there is none. New business, we have the Department of Natural Resource update by Commissioner Murphy. Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Chair, members of the school committee, superintendent, it's a pleasure to appear before you this evening. I'd like to especially recognize Mr. Rivoli, who is an excellent member of the Park and Recreation Board for the award this evening, and also the best teacher I ever had. So, my fifth grade teacher. For those at home that don't know me or the department, my name is David Murphy. I'm proud to serve as the mayor's Commissioner of Natural Resources. The natural resources are made up of 5 divisions: park, forestry, cemetery, conservation, and recreation. On the park side, we oversee 54 parks. We maintain 101 locations, including 21 QPS properties. I'd like to thank the custodians of Quincy Public Schools who are doing an excellent job in helping out on the litter side. The fact that they're picking up a lot of the litter on the school grounds makes the work of my team a lot easier when they do the cutting and the weed whacking, and this year has been aces so far. So I did want to recognize the custodians of Quincy Public Schools for the work that they're doing. We also support many citywide events. We see everybody here or there. This has been a very exciting year with the celebration of Quincy 400, a lot of great concerts, events. The superintendent mentioned the upcoming Hot Air Balloon Festival. It has been a really exciting year for the city. We also support the Quincy Public Schools by staffing many of the varsity games at Adams, Mitchell-McCoy, Creedon, Veterans Stadium, and other locations. Our forestry division oversees the care and maintenance of 18,000 trees on our streets, more in our parks and cemeteries. Each and every year, through the budgetary support of the mayor and the city council, we've planted close to 500 new trees, and we have maintained status as a Tree City USA for close to 22 years. One of the more exciting things we do every year is we partner with the Quincy Public Schools to do an Arbor Day celebration where our tree warden and urban forester meet with some of the elementary schools, and at the end of the day, they get a little sapling that you would think was a bar of gold. They treat it with such reverence. So it's a great opportunity, and I'd love to continue to enhance the partnerships that my department has working with the principals and teachers in the school system. Our cemetery department oversees 6 cemeteries, and I would brag that there's as much art and history in those cemeteries as any textbook that we have in our city. I'd encourage folks that haven't had the chance to visit the history that we have at whether it's Hancock or Mount Wallace and the Sailors of Snug. There's some really interesting local history in our 6 municipal cemeteries. Conservation, it's an element that the mayor introduced when he created this department in 2019. We've done a lot of great work, including the renovation of Butler's Pond, which is directly behind the old Central Middle School, a flood control project along the Furnace Brook, and right now I'm very excited for the Sailor's Pond renovation project that we're working on right now. It's basically a similar dredging initiative that we did at Butler's, just on a grander scale and a tighter envelope. Our recreation department, I think, is really second to none. Quincy runs 14 free summertime programs. This year there were more than 900 participants in the free summer recreation program. our clinics drew almost another 3,000 young people. We worked with QPS to provide a community pool at Lincoln Hancock, and we had 764 Quincy residents participate in swim lessons and open swim this year alone. Looking forward, Mayor Koch has already greenlighted the continuation of the downtown skating rink. We're very excited about that. The real beauty of that, I think, is the mayor's initiative to knock down any barriers to skating and ice time. You know, a lot of people can't afford skates or won't buy skates for limited ice time. It's free skate rental, free ice time, and it's really opened it up and made it as inclusive as possible for anybody to come downtown and enjoy that skating rink, and it gets a tremendous amount of use. We work very closely with Athletic Director Kevin Mahoney to make sure our fall sports facilities are as good as any in the state. We also work closely with Matt Kavanaugh and the QNQ band to make sure that practice time isn't all for athletics. We make sure that they get an appropriate amount of time on the field so they can continue their excellence in representing the city in the way they do. A couple projects of note. There's a lot of projects we have going on, but I'll touch on the ones that I think directly impact the school system. The Marshall School playground expansion. We're expanding the playground at Marshall, working with the Marshall family in honor of Mike Marshall Jr., who would be Clifford Marshall's grandson, who died in 2023 at 35 years old. Mike Marshall Sr. Has been working with the mayor and then through my department to honor his son with an expansion to the playground down there. Aviator Park is coming out fantastic. We are coordinating right now for a dedication ceremony with the school and the family, and we'll keep the school committee in the loop once those details are refined. I also want to thank Ms. Patch for her cooperation and coordination. Building a playground, we tried to do it mostly during the summertime when the school was closed, but there's always activity at Marshall. So I appreciate her cooperation, making sure that we could get that done safely and in a timely fashion. I mentioned Sailor's Pond. Sailor's Pond will be done during the course of this fall. What we're doing is we're dredging essentially sediment that has settled in the pond throughout the last 50, 60, 70 years that really chokes out the life in the pond. And I think in removing that sediment, we're making a better ecosystem for the turtle, the fish, and the other wildlife that live in that pond. As a kid who grew up in that neighborhood, that was the original outdoor classroom, and I think it has the potential, whether it's Beechwood Knoll or other schools in the district, to once again become, you know, an outdoor classroom that can be studied and used by our school system and the neighborhood children. On the golf side, we're very proud to host the QNQ girls golf team at Furnace Brook and the Quincy High boys as well. We have a brand new facility up there, and at the mayor's direction, we've turned it into a true community golf course where our greens fees are some of the most affordable around. We really want to open up the game of golf to populations that typically you won't see on a golf course. Our young junior membership has jumped tremendously. We're providing lessons to new golfers. We've got a great team up there that will teach lessons. Our new simulators give the opportunity for the golf teams to practice even when the weather's not cooperative. And I do think that there is a tremendous opportunity to continue to grow the game of golf for folks that typically wouldn't have access, similar to what the mayor's done at the skating rink as well. Finally, we're in the early stages of creating a Challenger ropes course in Quincy. We're working with Matt Lowe, who ran the Bilotti camp, the sheriff's camp, for many years, to design our own course in Quincy. I know there was talk of that some 10, 15 years ago, but there's a great potential for both the Quincy Public Schools and the Recreation Department to utilize a facility like that for leadership development, confidence building, and a lot of the skills that our young people need in today's world. And I think would be a great addition to our park inventory. Finally, I just want to thank my team. I'm very fortunate to be led by a boss who's incredibly supportive of our park system and beautification of the city. But the folks that work in my department, I get a tremendous amount of credit for the work that they do. So I do want to recognize my team who does an excellent job on a day-to-day basis making all of this happen. So thank you if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. This is all absolutely wonderful. I just have one question. When you're talking about the renovations and talking, I think it's great that our kids will be able to go down there after it's finished and see this wonderful project. But I was wondering, during the renovations, Is this any kind of an opportunity for our students to actually be able to go down Sailor's Pond, Butler's Pond, while the renovations are happening, to actually have any learning about what the opportunities of the renovations and the dredging looks like in doing that for their educational purposes?
Yeah, I think it's possible. What I could offer is our environmental scientist, Heather Liss, who's fantastic, to provide an educational program, probably at Beechwood Knoll, to talk about the project. The construction site itself is very tight, and there's a lot of heavy machinery there. Access to the site itself may be a little more tricky, particularly with a younger population. But I do think that I'd be happy to offer Heather in my department to give an overview to the school about the work that we're doing if it was appropriate.
Okay, thank you so much.
I just wanted to mention, I had mentioned this earlier to the mayor, that so many things happened in the city this summer because of Quincy 400, and so many people from out of town were in town. And people were so impressed with the Parks Department in Marymount Parkway. People were just so impressed with everything that was going on in the city. People who said, I used to live in Quincy, I can't believe it looks like this here. And it's really true, the parks are beautiful. And it was such a welcoming space this summer for so many people who came in from out of town. So I want to thank you and your team for that also.
Thank you. We work with a phenomenal landscape architect who really hits it out of the park every time. It's a guy by the name of Tom Koch, who really, really missed his calling as a landscape architect.
It's extra.
First, I want to thank Dave for the recognition. It's very nice. One of my best students going through.
Top 300.
I had the pleasure of meeting with Dave, once a month in the park board. And the work they do is obviously self-evident. That the city looks phenomenal. And it's a credit to, obviously, the mayor, who's the chief, but he's got a lot of people who work very hard for him and get the job done on a daily basis. And it's not easy because this is a huge city. And if you just look at the areas that have to be cut by, for lawns, green spaces, plantings that have to be taken care of, it's just unbelievable. Our parks are second to none in the Commonwealth. And again, it goes right back to the mayor and the park department. So again, thank you, Dave, for all your hard work. You do a tremendous job, and I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Murphy, for that update. I'm always amazed at the amount of things in the city that are under your purview and that are done very well, very professionally. Everything looks great. So I just want to join my colleagues in saying thank you and great job. I did have a couple questions for you. One to sort of piggyback on Mrs. Hubley's comment on the dredging. There's an AP Environmental Science course at Quincy High. I don't know if there's one at North, but that would be great if Heather, you mentioned, could maybe even go and visit the high school classes as well, especially those environmental science classes, and just sort of explain what's happening there and why you're doing it. I think that would be fantastic for even the older kids to understand what's going on right in their community, and they can take a peek after the construction's done and really appreciate what has happened and what the work you guys have done. So I think that would be great, not only for the younger, but the older as well. So I wanted to mention that. And then a couple things I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned the park expansion at Marshall, which we went and checked out. It's awesome. Even my teenagers were trying out all the new equipment, and it's great. Asking about the swings, though, are they going to be replaced?
Yes, the old disc swing, which is the larger multi-person swing, will not be replaced. They'll be replaced with different swings. Those larger multi-person swings, I'm sure they were a lot of fun, but we've had some issues both with maintenance and we've had some requests at some of the schools because sometimes they get overloaded and it becomes a safety issue. So the swings will be replaced just with a different type of swing.
That's great. I know the swings are a huge, huge draw for that park, so I'm glad to hear they're going to come back at some point. So thank you for that. And it looks great there. one thing I'm going to ask about is recycling bins in especially the elementary school playgrounds. I ask you this every time you're here. For cans and bottles, just as you mentioned, the custodians do a great job picking up the trash, but, these bottles and cans are just, that's all the kids drink. And if we had some recycle barrels, that might be helpful. And I know you explained the challenges of that. Is there any progress that's been made or any new developments on that?
Yes, we've rolled out what I would refer to as a pilot program at primarily at Adams Field and at the Veterans Stadium that tend to get the most use. We can certainly expand and move some of our blue barrels into the school playgrounds as well.
Yeah, I love that for the elementary schools, especially just to, that's where a lot of the kids kind of hang out with the playground equipment and stuff, even the older kids. So that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you for keeping that in the back of your mind. One last thing I wanted to ask you about. I know you have 100 parks to deal with, and you mentioned, I think, 18,000 trees. I wanted to ask about Pond Street specifically. I know the Quincy High baseball team the varsity team uses that for practice. I'm just kind of curious what's going on there. I feel like there's some new trees that are planted sort of in an odd spot, and
Yes.
I just sort of, maybe you could describe what's going on there, and then maybe I could follow up with some questions.
There's a tree in the bullpen.
Yes,
And the
there are
tree
some
is-
trees in the
The tree is going to
bullpen.
be moved, yeah. We planted probably about 18 trees down in that section of the park. It's relatively bare. We did a program with the Community 4-H Club on the top side of the park, but there weren't a lot of trees down there. So as part of our Heritage Tree Program, we planted a number of trees down there. In an effort to plant a lot of trees, we put a tree in the middle of the bullpen. I've heard from both Quincy High School and a few of the other user groups. So that tree will be moved before baseball season.
Thank you. And it does, I'm glad to see that it's getting moved. It's looking a lot better. Infield grass, is there any plan for kind of working on that? And the netting in the batting cages is kind of failing a little bit. I just, for our varsity teams, I'd love to see them kind of have as top-notch as everything else, all the other facilities that you guys maintain, so.
So in the fall, we tend to do our diamond reclamation because in the spring, it tends to get a little too wet to do anything meaningful to the diamond. So this fall, I think there are 3 or 4 diamonds that we have scheduled. Pond Street is one of them for rehabilitation. The nets will come in for the wintertime and probably be replaced with newer nets for the springtime.
Awesome, thank you. Very, very responsive as always. Thanks, Dave, appreciate
You
it.
got it.
Thank you.
I'm just echoing the sentiments of my colleagues, both for the work that you do every day, Dave, but for the entire staff that you have, not only in parks, cemetery, natural resources, recreation, conservation, to hire, train, keep motivated. They, as Mr. Bergoli said, have incredible professionalism, dedication, and attention to detail, and you can see it in every corner of the city. And I don't think beaches were mentioned, but I noticed some of the beaches, which I have an affinity to. You're doing a great job maintaining those as well. And the new pickleball court is open. How's the activity up there?
It's packed. We've opened up 2 facilities, one at Fennel Street with the 3 courts, and any given time, you'll see 12, 15 people waiting in line. And we just opened up an 8-court bank up at Faxon, and before we even formally opened it and dedicated it, people were bringing their own nets up there, and I think there's a tremendous demand. So we're going to see how the new courts at Faxon go. It's a great location for the Senior Olympics tournaments, maybe even a future Quincy pickleball tournament. So, it has been received very well to the point where we're gauging whether we have to build even more. Now, we're very sensitive, of course. You've probably seen the stories in the news about people being concerned about proximity and noise at pickleball. I don't quite get it, but I respect people that feel that way. So we're being very strategic about where we site those.
Wise choice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate all your support, Doug, through the years, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commish, thank you. Thank you very much. I know we have Commissioner Murphy in and Commissioner Hines in once a year to give updates on what's going on and to take any questions. I was kind of flippant the other day on a podcast I did. Certain people out there continually pushing the city about transparency. And I said in the podcast, people should open their eyes. Because if you look around, you see all new schools, new seawalls, new parks, new roads, et cetera, et cetera. And the parks, I get compliments all the time on how beautiful they are. The entrances to the city, I know you get some very dedicated people to that, and they take a lot of pride in it, and it truly shows. And I think for the last few years, for the first time in a long time, I've said it relating to Mr. Hines' department. We're a city of 105,000. We're a city with major natural resources. We're finally acting like a city. I mean, to have a Department of Natural Resources, to have a true tree warden, have an environmental specialist, and doing the restoration projects on the ponds, and I know we've got other plans going forward, is remarkable. So I just want to thank you for your great leadership, and I know you're one of those departments, the phone never stops, nights and weekends, and thank you, David, for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Can you speak? The other night you spoke about Mound Street and that new, something new that was put in there for seniors.
Relative to Mount Street, one of the locations that are being contemplated for the challenge course was Mount Street, the old soccer field down there. There's still a process that we'd have to go through relative to the community siting and meeting with the ward councilor and such, but it's one of the sites. I know originally when the city contemplated building one, that was the chosen location. I can understand why, but I still think that there's a process that we would have to go through to determine that. It certainly meets all the criteria. We looked at all 54 parks, and I think Mount Street was obviously the best location. That's our opinion. There's still a public process we'd want to go through.
Specifically the beach that you're doing something with for seniors.
So at Mount Street Beach this past summer, with actually a donation from the Old Beaches Commission, we installed the city's first Moby mat, which is basically an accessible mat that takes folks that are limited in their ability to get through the sand and navigate the sand to get closer to the water. We put 100 feet worth of Moby mat down at Mount Street this summer, and working with Councilor Ashton, it was very well received.
I know there's so much stuff that you do, so you probably just left that out, but I think it's important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Buildings update, Commissioner Hines.
Good evening, members of the school committee, Mr. Mayor. I told somebody I was preparing tonight and preparing my notes and the listing of projects, and they're like, oh, that must be a pain. I said, I welcome it, because I'm proud of what we do, and I like to boast about a lot of it, because I think for too long, a lot of this didn't happen and wouldn't happen. And we've discussed it before about the mayor carving out and creating the Department of Public Buildings, and I think that was the renaissance for these school buildings, particularly the older ones. So I don't find it a burden. I welcome to be here. I did pass out to you kind of my standard memo form, but I changed it up a bit. There were too many projects to really list in that memo form, so I gave you a detailed Excel spreadsheet with them. I did truncate it. I took a lot of information off to make it, more digestible, and try to group the schools by colors so that you could more readily discern between them. We did quite a bit this year, and this report actually covers summer '24 and summer '25. So some of the information presented in the Excel might be seemingly duplicative, but it's because it was done in both years, and that would be the reason. So I'm pleased to submit the report to you. Again, it goes from approximately June 30th forward till September 1st of this year, so June of '24 to September of '25. And I would once again like to call out the contribution, the efforts of the custodial staff of the Quincy Public Schools. They generally do a good job anyways, but particularly when we get into their buildings for the summer, we have a very limited period of time to do a lot of this work when the school is empty. This year, actually, with the cooperation of the assistant superintendent and the superintendent, we moved programming out of buildings they're traditionally in to allow us the opportunity to get in and do the work. So with the financial support and the encouragement of the mayor and the city council, we did quite a bit, more than probably we usually do. And I will say we're tired. But the custodial staff, we did a lot of abatement, and so I'd like to really call out the staff at Marymount and Montclair, Atherton, Howe, Atlantic, and Broad Meadows. We don't just go in, spend 3 days, and leave. We do this, it rips the building apart. Ceilings come down, floors come up, walls gets damaged, furniture all has to move, and they're all very cooperative in helping us put it back together. But I really have to call out the staff, Berkey and the others at Snug Harbor. We literally tore that building apart from one end to the other, between the back building, the west building, the pre-K building, whatever term you use to describe the link. We did over 10,000 square feet of abatement there, and ripped down ceilings, and ripped out pipes, and ripped up floors, and ripped out lockers, and get it all back together in time for school, albeit the lockers didn't arrive in time. But at the front of the building, we ripped apart, did the same scale of work to all of the administration area and the whole corridor down the kindergarten wing. And on top of that, layered on top of it is the air handler replacement project, the HVAC first phase of the upgrades. So literally from one end to the other, that building was just ripped apart. And there were contractors in all summer long, right up to Labor Day weekend. And those guys down there get the building shined, put back together, in order, and opened on Tuesday morning for the staff. Similarly, again, the guys, Troy and Austin at Squantum School. We all know what's going on at Squantum School, but a lot you don't know. Everything that was from the old school that had to be kept, had to get to the 1971 building, moved around like 10 times because of all the work that had to happen in the 1971 building before the modulars were up and in place and going. And then that all happened, and then they had to redistribute it all, clean all the buildings, get them all back together around an active construction site inside that building. So they killed themselves, and I want to call them out, and I hope you all appreciate what you have for a resource with that department. Similarly, I have to call out my own department, the members of my department. Everyone back a house, and Walter McDonald and Don Martin, Valerie Stewart, I really challenged them this year. You know, I used to be able to kind of keep my hand in all these projects, but we did so many I couldn't. Passed them off to them, and everything came together, and I really appreciate their efforts, as well as everybody else behind the scenes in the back of house in my department. A new hire, Margaret LaForest. She's a pit bull. I can't keep up with what she's trying to get me to do, but I'm trying my best. But that result will show when you look at what's going on at Snug Harbor. We had an effort going there, and she took it and took it even further. So we'll discuss to that. So to the buildings, the department did help the Mass School Building Authority in their annual 10-year assessment of all the buildings. Laura Owens was instrumental in that as well. There was so much information sought on so many, all 21 of our buildings, that when you printed out the Excel spreadsheet, it literally was 60 square feet large. We had it up on a wall. It was insane. I don't know whoever had to digest it on the other end, but good luck to them. I speak annually as to our efforts on the school water improvement. All of our facilities are completely in compliance with the drinking water standards, but through the direction of Mayor Koch, we set a lower standard. We're still advancing towards that standard. We come in, we do a round, we come back, we do another round, we do another round. Our goal in the city of Quincy is zero detection. And we've gotten there in several buildings, including Lincoln Hancock, which had the highest readings of all of our buildings. We have that to zero detection. Montclair's following suit. We replaced every water pipe in the basement of Lincoln Hancock, the entire building of Lincoln Hancock, the entire basement of Wollaston, substantially all of them in Montclair. We're getting there, getting rid of old brass pipe and the lead. So we are in full compliance, but we're not stopping. We're keeping at that. Similar to projects we've done at Point Webster and Parker and other schools, we're continuing our efforts to convert lighting to LED, hopefully not as bright as these ones. And we're making substantial gains there, both through city appropriations and grants from the green communities with the Commonwealth, and the Mass Saves and other programs and other incentives from National Grid. The two high schools are our highest energy users in the city. Quincy High School alone uses 10% of the entire energy consumption of the city. So everything we do with that building to bring down costs and consumption is significant. The same with North Quincy High School, it's right behind it at 9%. Another huge user is the mid-1970s all-electric Lincoln Hancock. It's older technologies of all-electric.
it uses a ton of energy. So we're going in there, we're replacing transformers, changing to heat pumps. We have a plan we're about to undertake to replace the pool water heating, the shower room heating, all the domestic hot water with heat pumps, and getting away from the resistive electric boilers out of there now. Those 3 units there are estimated to save over $200,000 a year in energy. So it's significant, the costs and the opportunities to curtail them. And then once we get to the payback period for the project, those savings are indefinite. They go on forever. So they reduce the bottom line at the end of the day. Another program we continue from year to year with the support of the mayor and the appropriations of the city council is the eradication of asbestos in our buildings. The school buildings are heavily regulated for the asbestos for the AHERA program in the federal law. Those laws and those regulations do not mandate the complete removal of asbestos. They mandate the inspection of it, the repair of any damaged asbestos, or the removal of that you can't repair. We're not doing that. If we're going into a room and tenting it to fix a pipe, we're gutting that room. So that is the mindset. Don't go back 3 times. I think I may use this example before. Somebody that did a hallway and up the flight of stairs to the second floor hallway and down the flight of stairs, never did they do the landing in the middle. It's absurd. Do it all while you're there. And that means take down ceilings, it means do the pipes, do the radiators, do the flooring, do the mastic, do everything. So that's our MO on it. Our older schools obviously have the most asbestos in them. And at this point, I'm happy to report to you that we have the Wollaston School, Bernazandi, and Beechwood Knoll, and now adding it to this year, Montclair and Point Webster, free of all known asbestos, not just damaged, everything. And then the benefit of that is when you go in, you've ripped down the ceilings, you've ripped down the floors, you've ripped open the walls, you finish putting it all back together, you have brand new classrooms, you have brand new hallways, you have energy efficient lights. I'll go back to Snug Harbor. If you go to Snug Harbor today and walk down those hallways and did it 3 years ago, you would think you're in a different building. The interior of Snug Harbor looks like a new school. It's built like a fortress, but it was never cared for. It was never updated. It was never maintained. It looks like a new building now, and I'm very proud of that one. When we continue the efforts we're doing with the HVAC and the continued ventilation improvements, the building would be air conditioned to the same standards as Southwest Middle School, Quincy High School where it is, Central Middle School, the DeChristopher Learning Center, and portions of Broad Meadows. So that's one of the buildings that they vacated for us for this summer to allow the scale of work that we did. That's a building that traditionally has summer programming every year, and that will now be conditioned, so to be an appropriate atmosphere for the students that do the summer programs there. Well, speaking to asbestos, I'd like to speak out. Even just this afternoon, I was preparing this report, got a phone call from a concerned neighbor in Squantum. And I just want anyone reading this or listening to this, if we're on, that before any demolition of the Squantum school buildings was started, over the course of this summer, we abated everything out of Squantum School. There was a very, very robust and comprehensive study done before we started anything. They took shingles off the roof, they took brick off the walls, they pulled down ceilings, they pulled up floors, they did everything. We even took at least 3 inches of dirt off the crawl space in all 3 of the buildings to make sure there's no asbestos dust in the dirt. Then, only then, did the demolition start yesterday. The gym is gone if anyone's interested. So people are rightly concerned. You hear all kinds of stories. One gentleman that called me himself has suffered ill effects from other exposures and was just concerned. So I'd like to assure everybody the asbestos is gone. That is a clean site and a clean demolition. We didn't do it with cookie cutter regulations from the DEP. That was a specific and tailored remediation plan for that building in anticipation of the demolition. Under the watchful eye of the DEP and all the licensed folks, the demolition is proceeding. So it is a safe site. I'm great and happy to say that the Squantum School replacement project is well underway. This summer, I don't want to paraphrase the report, but it was an insane amount of work that was done this summer to prepare for the interim condition. We divorced the 1971 building from the remainder of the complex, but the heat and electric and everything else that served the 71 building came through those old buildings. So we had to reestablish electric, reestablish water, reestablish a heat plant for that building, and needed to provide for the modulars as well. So I go on to speak to the amazing team we have with PCA 360 as our OPM, with Brian LaRoche and Casey Hockner. Our architectural team with Arrow Street, with Tina Suhu and Larry Sprang, they're amazing. And the trifecta was with getting Lee Kennedy as the construction manager. They've been phenomenal. We really have looked at the Squantum project as two separate construction projects. One was doing the interim condition that opened on September 2nd of this year, started on June 30th of this year. It's outrageous, the amount of work that was done. All the while having to keep the eye forward to the bigger construction project of the new school, in the lead times, in the contracting, and all of what it takes to get that building done and delivered on time. And we are absolutely, completely on track for substantial completion of summer of 2027 of the new building, with the students moving from the interim condition into the new building in September of 2027. At that point, the 1971 building will come down, the modulars will go away, the parking facilities will be built, and Commissioner Murphy's gone, but we will restore the park. I invite you, if you haven't already gone down to see it, to please do. They love it. The modulars are the more popular. The mods, as they're dubbing them, must be BC grads. But the argument is who gets to go into the mods, because they're better than the classrooms in the building. I do want to obviously acknowledge the support of the City Council and Mayor Koch for all of our efforts, between the Squantum included, and the MSBA as well. But there's another partner I need to reach out to and thank, and that's the abutters and the neighbors to that site. It's a very tight neighborhood, very close proximity to some of these homes. We've done our best, and we continue to improve on mitigating the impacts on the neighbors, but there are impacts, and we have to acknowledge that. By and large, they've been amazingly cooperative. There's been calls, there's been emails, and they were deserved. Nothing is that was complained of was inappropriate, and we're responsive to that. So I really do have to reach out to the neighbors. They're enduring a lot, and we're grateful for their putting up with us. So as I started out with, the list of projects really is too lengthy to go through school by school by school like I've done in the past. So I would ask you to, take a look at the Excel spreadsheets. I'd highlight a couple of the more significant projects in some of the schools, not even all of them. Some of the biggest ones, again, and we're proud of it, is the asbestos abatement that we've done. House Neck, we've now done all of the classrooms. We got House Neck, Atherton and Howe. We got some pipes to do in a basement in a couple of classrooms, and then that building is asbestos-free. And that, again, comes in with the new floors. In the original building at Atherton and Howe, and the original building at Montclair, when we did those abatements, we put back in the birch hardwood flooring that somebody took out to put in the asbestos. They're easier to maintain. You don't have the chemicals of all the floor treatments. And it's a great feel, it's a great atmosphere and a vibe for those buildings. Beechwood Knoll, the first phase of the unit ventilator improvements and replacements has begun. The delivery of the equipment was delayed, so we've done the first phase this summer. The equipment's in storage, and we'll continue it come June. We didn't want to be in those classrooms with significant construction once school started. So early on, when it looked like the equipment, like all other HVAC equipment, is delayed, we made the decision at that time to postpone. And I think it was a wise decision, and we'll be happy we did that. I think people that are familiar with Clifford Marshall might know that room 113 has had an indoor air quality issue for years now. And we got stymied, so we literally went in and just ripped that room out completely, to bricks, to studs, to steel roof deck. Completely rebuilt the room, found some water infiltration, found some original construction errors. We've corrected all of them. Room's back together. It looks beautiful, and so far so good. There's been no reports of any issues in the building, in that classroom. Parker School, the MSBA supported and City of Quincy supported boiler replacement is ongoing. It's about to be finished. Lincoln Hancock, as I said, is one of the ones that we've been targeting with a lot of effort in the last couple of years. This year includes the construction of an expanded and completely renovated, now full-service student food service kitchen that can cook meals at that site and not just have to truck them in. There's the granite seat entrance, which for years was deteriorating and in danger of collapse. We did the second phase of repairs in summer 2024. That is now completed and safe. We did some safety, other than structural safety, we did some vehicle safety issues with bollards and stuff, so you can't smash and crash and those type of things. We reestablished and replaced and added to the outside pole-mounted lighting on the site. Came back with the down ambient lighting where it was dark before, so it's attractive and safer. Marymount, same thing, 11,000 square feet of asbestos abatement, 12 classrooms painted, LED lightings, new ceilings. In Montclair and Wollaston, both of them have now completed the MSBA-supported roof replacement projects. At Montclair, we were able to get it expanded out, so they contributed towards the rebuilding of the parapet all around the 1920s, 30s building that runs down the length of West Collins Street. That parapet was not supported and was not reinforced, had significant damage, and could easily have been a collapse issue for us. So it was supported and braced to today's building codes, repointed and rebuilt, that roof put back together, and all the new roofs installed. As part of that effort, the ground level student bathrooms in Montclair, that were original from 1912, have been completely rebuilt, and they are now handicap accessible to all students. They are bright, they are clean, they are able to maintain them. They have full-length doors on the stalls. We also constructed a custodian closet there, so they no longer have to go into the girls' bathroom with their moppers and buckets. And we built a handicap-accessible staff bathroom in that building. We also, on the outside, a couple of years ago, we put a foundation in for a flammables storage shed. The gasoline and snow blowers were always stored in the building, and it drove me crazy, and the fire department. So we've completed the flammables, the fireproof flammables storage shed adjacent to the gymnasium building. Wollaston, the same way, long needed, handicap accessible, but staff bathroom in the ground level of the building. We created a handicap ramp from the gym lobby down to the level of the original basement level of the first building. And we completed that roofing project. Atlantic Middle School, again, huge amount of asbestos abatement, new flooring throughout. We built a new classroom by cutting walls out and providing access to storage rooms from hallways and ventilating them. Broad Meadows, there's new concrete exterior walkways, improved paving, so ADA access out behind at the gym. Asbestos abatement, new ceilings, new flooring. And part of our continuing effort to get all the utilities out of the crawl space, we ran the full length of the building now with the domestic hot and cold water above the first floor hallway ceiling. We have one more utility to do that, then we can finally replace appropriately that hallway ceiling. Point Webster, the city-funded boiler replacement is ongoing, nearing the end. And we recarpeted the auditorium and fully painted it, and recarpeted the ground level media center and library. The two high schools have received a great deal of effort, and I looked down the list and like, but it was all really stuff that just needs to happen. You know, it's not really any significant project other than the unit ventilator replacements at North Quincy High School to the tune of about $600,000. Repiping the system there and providing an easier path to the next phase of unit ventilator replacements. So there'll be a significant comfort improvement in those rooms with the new ventilators, and we hope to get funding. The design is done is to do the next and hopefully the final phase of those unit ventilator replacements. Snug Harbor was a summer of its own, all the work that was done there. I passed out to you an email that Margaret LaForest had done and summarized and sent out to a group of us. Rather than recreate it, I just shared her words, just kind of bullet points of all the grants and all the programs and all the opportunities that we chased and now she's chasing, and all those that she added to it. That's providing the wherewithal to do what will be a complete rebuild of the interior of Snug Harbor School, to advance beyond what we've already done. You know, everything that we do in all of our buildings, we do to handicap compliance, whether it's required by the code or not. I don't look to see if we've triggered the 1/3 of the value of the building. If a city resident or whomever, a member of the public, can't get to a facility that we're maintaining, I think that's unacceptable. So anytime we do a doorway or a bathroom or anything, we do it to handicap standards. So we've been doing a lot of work at Snug Harbor already. Some of these grants and some of these programs are going to advance that. We had previously designed the elevator, a new construction elevator for Snug Harbor School. We're hoping that this funding will contribute to finally constructing that. There's ramps that need to be done. We've already done the exterior ramp. This would be door handles, sink faucets. We've already done the gang bathrooms on the city's dime. And just the amount of abatement that this year was crazy. It's a huge building. We have some pipes in the old bomb shelter left, and then that building is asbestos-free. We have put in statements of interest with the MSBA for roof replacement projects under the Accelerated Repair Program for Broad Meadows Middle School, about 80% of that building, 100% of Parker Elementary School, about 80% of Atlantic Middle School, and it's only 80, not 100, because sections have been recently replaced at Broad Meadows and Atlantic. For Point Webster Middle School, we put a statement of interest in for the roofs, the windows and doors. All three are in the pipeline with the MSBA. We have not yet been invited into full participation, but they have done site visits. They're aware of the conditions. They have all the information. My gratitude to Laura Owens, who follows up every time they send an email looking for information. She's got it to them before I can even find it. So it's an invaluable resource to the school department in general, but to me particularly, most notably with the MSBA projects. So we are certainly hoping for a successful endeavor with the MSBA and to be invited fully in for those projects. At this point in time, I don't know that we have time to have construction in summer of 2026, given the process, and we haven't even awarded the contracts or done any of the design, but we would hope to do that. If not, everything will certainly be in place to kick off as soon as we can in summer of 2027. And I don't know that you really want to listen to me anymore, so I think I'm done. You can read what's in front of you. Anyone has any questions, please feel free to call or email me, and I will supplement anything that I can.
Mr. Guttrow.
Hey, Paul, excellent presentation. Good to have you back before us. Just a couple of comments and then a question. So I, for one, appreciate your approach to environmental abatement and remediation on the asbestos stuff. I mean, just flipping through this list, it's extraordinary how many schools that you touched over the course of the summer. Also on the energy upgrades, kudos to you. I mean, that'll be a huge financial savings to the city of Quincy for years or decades to come. So good stuff there. I want to echo your shout outs to the Squantum team. That is an incredibly difficult project in a very tight space, in a very short time frame, under very difficult conditions, and all the folks that you gave a shout out to deserve the shout out for doing what they've done thus far and continuing to do it. So I just wanted to echo those comments.
Thank you.
And then two questions. Were there any security-related improvements that your department was involved in before the beginning of the school year that you could discuss?
We have added card reader swipe pads and doors that didn't have them so that they don't get propped open, like sometimes once too often they do. We are designing a replacement of the video system at Snug Harbor. We've done improvements to the alarm system at Marymount School. Hoping to do this, excuse me, not Marymount, Snug Harbor and Montclair. I'm hoping to do that at other schools as well. There's different schools of thought on the cameras. There's one, your entrances and your main corridors are covered. Then there's other people that need every square inch covered. So there's a balance there. There's obviously a cost to it. So there's, through the schools and the city, it's not released publicly because of the sensitive nature of it. There's been studies done of each school. We have made provisions, like when we did the work at Broad Meadows and restoring after the floods, and this summer at Atlantic with the flooring and electrical layout, to put a second set of storefronts inside their main entrances. So forgive the sexist term, but there's a man trap. So you allowed them into the building, they have to engage a human on staff before they're allowed in the inner doors. That's standard and part of the design of our new buildings, but we're incorporating the provisions to do that in some of our renovations as well.
Yeah, because we, in the executive session, we talked about some of the security upgrades, so I was just curious to know what happened over the course of the summer that you could talk about. And then the final question is, and this is like a decades in the making saga, which is in front of Bernazani School. Can you shed a little light on what's going on and what the end game is?
Okay, so I can't take credit for that. It's probably the gentleman in the center, Mr. Koch. I was delighted, as probably you, driving down Furnace Brook Parkway and seeing the work be done. So in years past, we've put different types of materials in the rutted tire tracks where the parents pull off the pavement.
Yep.
But obviously now there's vertical granite curb going in and a repaving and rebuild of the roadway. So I think that's welcomed by the entire community, the neighborhood, as much as the school community. But I'm not even sure if the city funded that or if that's Mass Highway or DCR. I don't know.
DCR. So I'm usually critical of DCR, but we thank them for that one. They got a long way to go, though.
Hopefully the video's still down.
And did, I mean, you wouldn't know the answer to this, but were there any issues with pickup and drop-off in light of the changes out there?
We received one call, but that was the morning of school, and by the afternoon it was fixed, and it's been relatively smooth after that.
Good news.
Yeah, it is. They did a great job.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paul helped me out a couple of years ago with a project that went under the radar, but I still remember all the work you did for the locker room at North. And just a couple of questions. I saw in here a continued design of the auditorium.
At North Quincy,
Yes.
yes.
And to
Atlantic
follow-
as well, but
And to follow. I know that I asked the mayor the other day, but
yeah,
I know
we've
it's significant money.
opened up that file and shook it off again. The 100th anniversary of the building is coming in a few years. I myself personally would love to have it done by then, but there's other constraints, there's funding and other
I
issues.
understand.
You have to keep in mind, that building was built, the auditorium was in the original portion of the building when it was built as North Junior High School
Right.
in 1925. So it was built 100 years ago for 6th and 7th graders. And everyone's twice the height they were 100 years ago, and we have 12th graders trying to fit in those same rows. So the renovation is significant. We have to basically re-pour the entire room to spread out the rows. The design is significantly completed. It's amazing what Westling Architects did with some creativity. We thought about raising the stage and different things, and they basically created a bigger orchestra pit, which is no longer orchestra pit, it'd be seating.
Right.
So that cured ADA issues and sightline issues and all kinds of things. So we're advancing it. I'd love to get pricing done on it and see what it is in today's dollars.
Just nice to see it's not forgotten. And the other thing is the unit vents, do they take care of the heat in the summer in the gym? Because it's
No.
oppressive.
No, the air handles in the gym are separate from the unit ventilator effort. They are in the crosshairs, the gymnasium air handlers, but they're not yet part of the thing. Quite honestly, our concern is the classroom atmosphere during the school year
Sure.
before summertime.
Understood.
I'm not sure, frankly, myself personally right now, if that auditorium was ever built as an air kitchen space. I'd be shocked if it was.
You mean the gym?
Excuse me, yes, the gym. I'd be surprised if it was. None of the others are, nor would they be. You expect to be out running around and sweating, not be in a comfort zone. So even if those air handlers were replaced, it may not cure your oppressive atmosphere in the summertime if they're not air conditioning.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate all the work that you do with, and your staff is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Mrs. Perdios.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hines, for all the work your group does. You know, every project on here, the ones that are outstanding, you know, that you've mentioned are the snug renovations, the asbestos, that level project, but even the smaller items, every single one is important and it matters. So, and it improves the life of the kids, the educators, the families. So thank you for all, even the tiny little ones that you didn't mention that are on this huge document here. So thank you on that. And I did notice a lot of the items from the facilities list, from the school improvement plans have been addressed and are on there. So that's fantastic to see. So thank you for getting those incorporated on there. Couple questions. I do want to mention the Quincy High Light Board, which is so needed, and thank you both to the mayor and to Mr. Hines for getting that together. I know it's a short, kind of a really quick issue that we had when you guys installed that, but the house lights there still flicker. Can you discuss like just a little bit of, I'm sure there's a challenge, I'm sure there's a bigger issue with that. What is going on with those flickering lights?
Okay, so we obviously are aware of that.
Yeah.
Every time the mayor's in an event there, I get a text. And we had the engineers come in, design the replacement system. Everyone talks about LED light bulbs last forever. Well, that's kind of true, but the ballasts don't, so the fixture fails one way or the other. The initial cost estimates to do the retrofit as designed is $880,000. And just don't have that in the CIP this year. I'm hoping to get that.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. And also in the gym, I think one of the last years you were here, there was some talk about those big fans. Is that still happening, or is that been?
Yeah. So we pivoted away from the, quote, big ass fans.
Yes, I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah, well, that is truly their trademark name. It's just not me being me. But we really kind of thought, at least I did, remember being a kid, I thought those fans would be a target for the basketballs and baseballs and everything else the kids play with in the gym. And we had environmental and mechanical engineers looked at it, and they weren't convinced that was the solution. So we pivoted away from that, and we put in a whole series of destratification fans. If you look in the natatorium at the Lincoln Hancock Pool, they're basically the same fans. They look like bullets that hang down vertically. And they circulate the air, and they push the air from up high, push them down low. The same ones were installed at the gym at Quincy High School. And to my understanding, it's a greatly improved atmosphere there.
Okay, great, thank you. Excited to hear about North Quincy and Atlantic auditoriums moving forward. Although they may have been built for middle school kids at North, I can't even get in and out of it, and I'm pretty small. I think most middle schoolers are bigger than me, so it definitely is in need of moving forward, but definitely understand the budget constraints on that. So thank you for keeping that pushing. Couple quick questions. So Southwest on this sheet, I was noticing additional lockers. Was it something that was wrong with it's a pretty new building. Was there anything wrong with the old ones, or were there just more
More.
needed?
So the building, when it was designed and programmed, they utilized the formula that the MSBA uses to project for student enrollment. While the building was still under construction, the population grew enough that we had to add 100 lockers during construction. So before it opened, those estimates were wrong. Since that time, with a further influx of students, we had to add another 100. So the first series of 100 were added on to where there were available hallway walls and things like that. But if you've been in there, obviously you have. There's a lot of windows, there's a lot of obstructions, there's not a lot of wall space. So we had to actually build walls to then be able to put lockers against. So we went, as usual, a little bit overboard and kind of mimicked the exact design of the original installations, where they're recessed in with the soundboards above them. So if you weren't in there before to know where there weren't walls, you would think this was original construction.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the explanation on that. And last thing, I think we've maybe mentioned this before, and just refresh me as to why this may not work, or maybe it's more doable as years go on, and maybe we could talk about it now. But I think principals, maybe parents, different people might wonder where their projects are. They put it on a school improvement plan, and they know it goes into the ether, right? It goes to you, but where it falls on when it's being looked at, it's hard to tell. Is there any way of making some kind of, even if it's a rough sort of, inventory of what is needs to be worked on in each building, so that like I say, principals can take a peek at it and make sure everything that they know about is on there. And they could just even get a rough estimate of like, okay, well, this is a certain color, so that's not a high priority right now, but it's the next level. At least some kind of, just even general information about where items are in, the prioritization, because I know you're super busy, obviously. You've got people everywhere all the time, but just letting people know a little more, I don't say transparency, but just a little bit more so that there's a better communication between understanding of where projects are. Even, if we had access to something like that where we could see different things, principals, maybe the SLT or something like that, like a higher level Google Doc or some kind of technology-based system. Any of you wanted to talk about that at all?
Okay. So I do myself review the school improvement plans and facilities portion only for the schools. In fact, I was having difficulty a couple weeks ago, and I was downloading them from the website, and it reminded me I was coming here tonight, so Laura was nice enough to send me the PDFs of them. I review them, and as I explained before, my department's informed by them, but we're not mandated by them, and I don't want to be, flippant about that. But I have to look at globally across all buildings, and one budget, one capital budget, one annual budget, in all buildings and all needs. Good security, health, water, asbestos, those things, I deem it, and ADA is primary. A lot of the things on the school improvement plans are, necessary for the educational benefit of the students, and we prioritize them in my department. Some of the stuff are wants and wishes. They kind of get pushed to the bottom. Some people just don't like the color of a rug, and they want a new rug. When I have another school that they're tripping on a torn rug, well, the torn rug's going to get it first. So I don't want to tell the principal with the wrong color that she's not getting a rug, or he's not getting a rug. But quite honestly, the lawyer in me says, I don't want to go through the schools and make a list of deficiencies and put it out there, because now we have knowledge, and if somebody falls, we have liability. Somebody a couple of years ago started going through, and somebody hired a firm to come through and start reviewing the buildings, and I put the brakes on it. I don't want that document out there. I reviewed again when I got them today, the school improvement plans. Most things on them are attainable. We've gotten far enough along with all the improvements we've made on the buildings I'm in this job my 10th year now, which is crazy, that it's really a lot of the things on the school improvement plan have become wants, not needs. And that has to play into it too. But we do address it. We will try our best to get to them. But again, I know everybody's looks very parochially at their building and what they need and what they want to make their life easier, but I have to look at all of them.
Right. I was just trying to make your job easier so that, they could see that. Do you know what I mean? Sort of like a global, there is a rug that needs to be done, but I can understand the concerns, and I appreciate the explanation. And last question, I promise. Clifford Marshall, the walkway up from Broadway.
That's
I'm
not
gonna
a
mention-
walkway.
I'm gonna talk about it every time you're here, because it's a safety concern, because families absolutely use it. And in the ice and snow, every year, families fall down that hill. And
Shame on them. It's not an entrance.
I just don't know
And I
where the
can't-
liability is, and it's open there, so it is an access to school. So if, it's just, I feel that we're open to liability on that, and where families are using it and can use it, and it's on our grounds, and it's icy, and it's tough to put rock salt out when it's rock. And so, just bringing it up.
Yeah, so as you described it, as a granite outcropping. They shouldn't be walking on it. Try hiking the Blue Hills after a snowstorm, you're going to fall. It was represented to the neighborhood at the time the school was sited there that would not be an entrance to the school. Regrettably, somebody didn't finish the fence at some point in time, and people got in the habit of walking through there. My issue is if I try to make it an entrance, it has to be handicap accessible, and it's all granite outcropping. We'd have to blast or bulldoze all that granite out of there. The easiest and best and probably appropriate solution is to finish the fence and not allow it as an entrance. And I know people don't want to see or hear that, but that would be my solution to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Mr. Rebo.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is incredible. Really is incredible. I think the fence is a great idea.
Yeah.
Just incredible job. I have two quick questions. One is the pedestrian trap at North Quincy High School. I know you spoke about that before. I haven't seen any action on that. Is that still in the back?
I'm sorry,
burner?
the what at North Quincy?
Pedestrian trap?
The trap, the man trap? Yes. We have that designed. We've done the architectural studies. We're allowed to take out that center entrance or exit, more significantly, the center egress. We're allowed to eliminate it, building code wise. It's on hold right now, pending the masonry restoration project. That's almost there, get ready to go to bid. Because that whole canopy that they put on, that horrible canopy they put on in like the late 70s, has structural issues to it, and it's leaking water. So if we build under it and then have to take it down, we've ruined what we've built. So I understand and I agree that the security is significant there, and we need to address it. But I don't want to have to rip apart what we've done, because then they're just going to have to go back across the lobby while the work's being done, so.
And my other question is, do you think Manada is going to be able to move forward, given the issue with Medicare on that clinic?
That, I can't speak to their financial position or how they plan to structure their efforts.
Well, I know when they were here before, I asked them what percentage of their clientele were Medicare. And it was Medicaid. And it was like 82%. So I'm wondering if they're,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you don't know, but
I don't know their
This is-
business
this is
model,
an
but
incredible
there's
report.
there's been no talk about dialing it back or not doing it, so we're
And,
going forward with the
this-
assumption.
this, really, she's earned her salary already.
Yep.
Margaret, she really has. I mean, this is an incredible document. If this all comes true,
Yep. A lot of it is true already.
yeah, I
You
know, I know. a lot
The
is
superintendent
true,
spoke to the
and
4.5
it's
million.
just,
There's others too.
Amazing, it really is amazing. It's great to see that.
We'll
kind of
point out,
effort.
there's a link in it, but there's also, there's discussion of the presser or the press relief or the public unveiling of not only our grant, but the other grant recipients at the same round. Because of the need of the school and because of what we've done, and because of the demographics and everything else, the population of the school, the state has chosen to use Snug Harbor as their backdrop for their announcement. So I do invite you all. I mean, it's not that it's a personal invitation for me, so I guess I should remind you all of the event on Tuesday, September 16th at 10:30. And being a local, we're going to ask you not to park in the parking lot so that the visitors can. You can find on street somewhere.
So great to see all the departments working together. It really is. It just didn't used to be like that, so I know I've been here a long time. It didn't used to be like that. So
Thank you.
I just want to say before the mayor speaks, I have a chance to say something, but I've been able to work with you on the Squantum committee, the building committee, and when I was at the library and different things, seeing you do your work. And I want to say that I have every faith in how you do your work and how your department runs, because I know that just with working with you or your experience, you're always 2 or 3 steps ahead, trying to figure out the health issues and safety issues and building issues and doing all that. And it really shows, and I'm really happy to hear about the Snug Harbor project, because when I was there last year for the readers, the US Reader Program, I came out, and I don't know if I said it to the mayor or to the superintendent, but I'm like, we need to do some work over here. And I'm going to go take a look, because I'm really excited to see the work that you did this summer, that it was needed. And my other observation is I did go to the Squantum School for the open house that they had. One, Principal Sylvia was amazed at the work that you've done. Lee
Not me,
Kennedy.
everybody.
Lee Kennedy.
Yeah.
First-class operation, and Austin and Troy got a huge kudos from him for the amount of work that they did to get the place ready. And when I went that day, they were opening the next day. It was amazing to see. So thank you, because your experience and you're a professional and you're keeping your team, and obviously it's a collaboration between everyone, the schools and everything. But just by seeing the work that you've been doing, and we see it in, like the mayor did say, open your eyes and we look around and we see all the great work that's being done in the city. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Did you notice the mural in the lobby?
I noticed the outside mural on the wall, and the, and
Somebody
talking
sent us a
about the
picture.
man, the
There was-
man
No,
pit.
there was a misspelling in one of the words.
No, I don't know that I saw that. I didn't see it,
Somebody
but I
sent-
probably don't know how to
somebody sent us
spell.
the picture, we're
So
like,
that's
"Quick, get the
okay.
paint."
But it was great. It was beautiful, and there was parents and kids there, and they were really excited about the whole, it was amazing, and you can see the work that they were doing, so. Again, Lee Kennedy's team too, and Brian's team,
Brian
they've
LaRoche,
just
yeah.
done a great job. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Emily. I know how many were here when we made the decision a few years back, and it wasn't easy because the first year we lost the vote. School committee didn't vote in support of the separation of the departments. And I think the former superintendent, he and I joked about it, had concerns about it. But the proof is in the pudding. It has really worked remarkably well. And I just like to remind everybody, what happened before was you had a maintenance department in the school budget in competition with the classroom. You could never grow it. You could never build a budget enough to deal with the challenges of the buildings. The concern, I know at the time by school committee members was, if we do this, how are we going to know the schools are going to be a priority? Paul's got more than 80 buildings and structures to maintain. Libraries, firehouses, public safety buildings, overseeing the new project and all those things. But we're able to grow the department. We've got far more craftsmen, experts to do that. And again, we pulled up our big boy pants as a city, made the decision to move forward. And you know what, it's constant, and Paul updates us. When Paul told me not long ago that the boilers had to be replaced at the new Quincy High, I said, what? They're 10 years old, high-efficiency boilers, they don't last. So it's constant. He mentioned the energy that Quincy High uses. It's, with all the technology and everything we have, of course, uses a lot more energy. Paul was in the law department for many years, and when I asked him to do this, it was because I knew of him, his background, and his abilities. Having him being a lawyer, it was mentioned, is huge when it comes to the procurement, the execution of the contracts. He sees things and corrects things before there's any issue. So, that Broad Meadows project we had a few years ago, Paul was down there in the midst of that, putting things on his own credit card to deal with the issues at the time to mitigate before it got any worse. I mean, again, the commitment, and I know, he's the first to say it, he's got a lot of great people around him, right? We sink or swim with the people we surround ourselves with, and he's got a great staff and all. Final point, the work Margaret did in coordination with this department. We know in the schools, you got to be on top of things, and you got to spend some time on grants. We created the grant department in the city. We got a $10 million federal grant for rebuilding a portion of Southern Artery this year. So it pays off. You try to make the argument for these things at the time, but at the end of the day, you look back and you see the results, and we've got millions of dollars coming to the city because of the commitment people have made through grant writing, and it's so much easier for me to call Congressman Steve Lynch when you've got the paperwork in right, you got an outstanding application, and you got people on top of it. There's a lot of cities and towns that don't have that ability, so that all adds up, and again, adds to our ability to get a lot more done with all of our assets. So thank you, Paul, for the great job. I know I don't have to worry about a thing. He and I have the same eye. You talked about before, you go into a building after an electrician was there and you see all this outside tubing. What are you doing? Take the easy, cheap way out. Well, these things should be done for the long term, and that's what he described tonight. So just thank you to you and your team, Paul.
Thank you.
I think Mr. Guttrow wants
Just have one more comment, which is, there are at least 180 items on this spreadsheet. And I wondered, and this is more for the superintendent, Laura, is this something that we could put on the news section, like attach the spreadsheet so that the public can see everything that happens in their own school? Just because I think we didn't go through the 180 items, so they can't hear those watching at home, but I just thought, boy, it's so valuable to see that even, you got the school improvement plans that have the facility checklist, but you can see everything that happened just in the last 2-3 months in every school. If we could put that up on the website, I think it'd be a real service.
If I may, I'd like to add too, this is really the most significant work. Like, there's hundreds and hundreds of work orders that come in, and have been addressed, hanging whiteboards, fixing chalkboards, broken window, and my flag fell down. There's hundreds and hundreds of them coming in the same time period, and that's all laid on top of this. Would kill a lot more trees if we listed all of that.
Exactly. Thank you.
Well said.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we will be looking at the school committee subcommittee organizational chart and go through to see what will stay and what will be removed from our specific committees. The first one is athletic and wellness. Mr. Bergoli?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to see revisited is number 2, middle school athletics. Been on there since 2021.
Okay.
I'd like to have a discussion on that.
And then remove number 3,
Yes,
okay? And leave the other 2 on?
yes, please.
Okay, great. Next, we have EDI, which is me. We are,
Budget.
oh, budget?
You
Oh,
skipped
sorry,
me, go right to you.
skipped a page, sorry. Okay, Mayor, go ahead.
I'd strike 2, 5, and 6. The others are all still pertinent, and we'll be having discussions at future budget on those. So 2, 5, and 6, we can eliminate.
Perfect. All right, EDI. EDI, we will eliminate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're all ongoing. Some of them, a couple of have been completed, number 12, and eliminate number 11. Basically, these are ongoing, and they're in our presentations during the year. We discuss a lot of these updates, so we can take them out of committee, and we just have them as ongoing conversations during the year in the different presentations that happen.
I know I'm not on the EDI subcommittee, but item number 12, the staff is fingerprinting for volunteers. I believe the origin of why that got referred was to see if we could expand, somehow get fingerprinting services more widely available for families in Quincy, because the locations to get those fingerprints done are not near us and limited. So just kind of keeping the conversation open about ways we could, as companies come online or different programs come online, to sort of make sure that we're bringing every opportunity to Quincy so Quincy families can volunteer and be part of field trips and different things that the PTOs run. So I'd feel more comfortable keeping number 12 in, just in case something were to come up, that we could, an opportunity
Yeah.
that we could have some kind of fingerprinting office here.
I do share your concern, but unfortunately, Safus and Morpho Trust is the only vendor, and there are no, we spoke to them, and they're not doing anything more than what they're doing currently right now, and we thought for sure they would be at one point doing mobile units. Well, that's off the table now too. And as of right now, it does not look like the state is going with any other vendor, and they're keeping Morpho Trust. If we don't see a change in that.
Okay,
that's-
I mean, it would-
Obviously, if it does change, we can alert you to that.
Okay,
But I can.
either way.
But, yeah, there is, unfortunately, we're kind of stuck right now with this vendor, and it doesn't look like the state has any plans to change it.
Okay, I just didn't
If
see
it
the harm in
changes, we can
keeping
let
it
you know.
in there, just in case something were to change, but if you guys feel it's better to take it out and bring it back in, that's fine.
I just feel it'll sit there for years and years and years. But
Some of
obviously, if
these are.
something changes, no, I know, but now's the
Okay.
opportunity to try and clear it up.
Okay.
Mrs. Hubley,
Thank you.
facilities, security, and transportation.
Yep, we're going to get rid of number 1. 4 has been completed. 5, 6, which is the same as 14, so we take 6 off. 9, number 10, number 14, as I said, number 15. And then I would actually like to add, a few years back, we had on here a review of the teacher bathroom conditions, and I would like that added back on now so we can have another update on reviewing of the teacher bathrooms and the condition of them. Something we need to make sure we keep an eye on every couple of years.
Okay. We all set with that? Okay. Next on the agenda is Mr. Guttrow with policy.
First, I'd like to thank Ms. Owens for tracking all of the work that we've done over the last year or term. And then say, policy has been particularly busy. There've been 19 items in policy committee. We've completed 9 out of the 19, so I'm suggesting removal of item 2, 3, 5, 6, 11, 14, 15, 17, and 18.
Okay. All right. Next, we have rules, okay, we'll skip that, there's nothing on there. Special education, Mrs. Perdios?
Thank you. Similarly, I think a lot of great work has been done in the last year, especially between the SLT, the special education team for QPS, as well as the CPAC. I think they've worked very well together in trying to work on issues that were to come up. So I think that we've actually, that collaboration has allowed for a lot of these to get resolved kind of before they even need to be on here. So we have 7 items currently on the docket here, and I believe that all of them have been completed or addressed. The Special Education Learning Center is now open. Special Education Transportation has much improved this year from what I've heard. Staff training that was needed to open the RDLC has been, it's ongoing, but also that there was staff training completed for that. Special Education Communication, I believe has been improved. The new IEPs have been rolled out. The post-school outcomes for students with IEPs, that has also been, they're publishing, DESE is now publishing some statewide data on that, but that's been completed. And the Pivotal Response Program, we've had a presentation on that. So I believe all of the items have been addressed, and I'm looking forward to adding some new ones this year.
Teaching and learning, Mrs. Lebo.
Yeah, I would like to remove number 1, because we get the annual core indicator report that gives us enough information that we can use for that. Also, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are completed or else just annually done.
All set with that? You all set?
I'm all set.
That's great, okay. And that's it. We'll complete that. Thank you. Next, we have memorandum of agreement between Quincy and the QEA, memorandum of agreement between Quincy School Committee and QEA, and memorandum of agreement between Quincy School Committee and Painters and Allied.
I'm going to suggest is that we defer these. We go into executive session because I know there's some updates we need. Vote in executive session, come back out to public session, and then confirm the vote here. So we'll defer to those and go on to the consent agenda.
Okay. Consent agenda, roll call vote. Is there any discussion? Motion to approve. Second by Mrs. Hubley. Yes.
Incredible job getting this kind of money, like we said about the other day. So
Thank you.
just a great team, really.
Thank you. Mr. Begoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Cahill?
Yes.
Mr. Gattro? Yes. Mrs. Hubley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lebo?
Yes.
Mrs. Perdios?
Yes.
And Mayor Koch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, additional business, there's none. Communications, we have upcoming school committee meetings at the Coddington Building, school committee room at 6:30 PM, September 24th, October 8th and 22nd, November 19th, and December 10th. Upcoming subcommittee meeting, September 24th at 6:15 PM. It's a policy meeting. Then next, we have reports of subcommittees, which is none. And we need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiations with the caveat we'll be returning to regular session.
Second by Mr. Bergoli, roll call vote.
Mr. Begoli?
Yes.
Mrs. Cahill?
Yes.
Mr. Gattro? Yes. Mrs. Hubley?
Yes.
Mrs. Lebo?
Yes.
Mrs. Perdios? And Mayor Koch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jimmy?
We're all set, back in session. Mayor Koch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion. We were going back to the D, E, and F on the agenda that we deferred to the executive session. We just met. So I'd make a motion. We approve item D, memorandum of agreement between the City of Quincy School Committee and the QEA Unit A.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Mr. Begoli? Yes. Mrs. Cahill?
Yes.
Mr. Guttrow? Yes. Mrs. Hubley? Yes. Mrs. Lebo? Yes. Mrs. Perdios? Yes. Mayor Koch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item E, memorandum of agreement between the Quincy School Committee and QEA Unit C. I'd make a motion to approve.
Roll call?
Mr. Begoli? Yes. Mrs. Cahill?
Yes.
Mr. Guttrow? Yes. Mrs. Hubley? Yes. Mrs. Lebo? Yes. Mrs. Perdios? Yes. And Mayor Koch.
Yes. And item F, memorandum of agreement between the Quincy School Committee, the Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 35, which is our custodies, Local 1911, Units A and B. I'd make a motion to approve.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Begoli? Yes. Mrs. Cahill?
Yes.
Mr. Guttrow? Yes. Mrs. Hubley? Yes. Mrs. Lebo? Yes. Mrs. Perdios? Yes. And Mayor Koch.
Yes.
Thank you.
And on that, I just want to thank Gail and the QEA and their representatives. I know we talked in executive session on the negotiating team. Thank you very much. We're in a good place, and good luck this year.
Thanks, Chair.
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.